In a world infested with semi-mediocre podcasts, only one show can bring you an exceptionally mediocre podcast. It's the Indispensable Thursday Show with Sable and Dave.
I thought the Wawa was coming.
Oh, well, we don't have the Wawa on
That's
this
the
one.
Wawa. I thought I was stepping on the Wawa, but I did my own Wawa. What I meant to say was, what did the Jewish child molester say?
I don't know what.
Hey, kids, easy on the candy. I stole that from a female comic who claims to be Jewish, so it's okay for me to repeat it. I forget her name. She was on some other podcast, but I thought that was a funny little ditty there.
Podcasts are good.
Mm-hmm.
So after last week's very heavy and dense topic, which generated at least one Facebook comment and a couple of Stitcher downloads, I thought we'd keep it a little lighter this time. And I wanted to mention that you made a comment last time that led us to believe, Dave, that you're a climate denier. That you believe, tell me if this is true, that there is no climate.
True. Yeah, I refer to the climate or climate change as the weather, as it's always been called. Yeah, no, I do think it's entirely true. We could be changing the weather. No one's sufficiently proven that it's going to be horrific. It's going to kill everybody. They don't have a good prescription of what to do other than bankrupt our entire existence by putting us all back in caves. It's
right.
like, okay, this is not going to happen, folks.
Now, what about the least well-viewed State of the Union in possibly history of television? And, some really smart scientists. I know some really smart scientists.
Yeah, there are lots of scientists who say we are warming the globe and it's going to be catastrophic. And there's lots of other scientists who say, nah, we're not really so sure. And even if we were, we probably couldn't really stop it. And it's probably not going to hurt us anyway. When it gets warmer, actually, it's proven to be better for humans. Although the people people don't like humans that are pro. If they're pro-Earth, they think we're basically a blight on the Earth. So they don't really care if it's good for us. No, they don't like us so much.
Well, I did a little bit of digging just to find out what the basis of that particular comment was, because I think NASA's a pretty stand-up operation.
Sure.
And there was a webinar that said there's a 2% likelihood. So we believe there's a 2% chance that 2014 may have been the warmest year on record.
Mm-hmm. Okay, but somehow it translated in the news story to we're so damn sure. It's true.
Smart scientists believe.
Well, actually, it translated to they were 97% sure.
Oh, that's 90%.
Something like that.
97% of the climatologists who are sponsored by the government who participate in the survey, which who knows how many that is. Anyways.
But anyway, my
anyways,
point.
Anyways is not a word.
I know,
anyway,
stop it. Getting back to the little bit of that. They can't really tell you for sure if it's warming or not. First off, I want to know when you say the globe is warming, I would say, well, what was the temperature supposed to be this decade? Can you tell me that? Because I do need that information first before I can run some numbers, but they don't know.
How come all the temperatures are different? The difference between the different organizations' temperatures are greater than the difference that they're reporting we are rising.
They're using computer models, and they're also plugging it. They want it to be warming because they get more grant money that way. So they got to make sure that they're coming out with data that shows that things are warming and it's going to be harmful. But here's what I'm going to say: innovation is better than
stagnation.
Well, of course, but innovation is better than government, like regulation. Innovation better than regulation, because if they just let people go and do what they want to do, people actually like this. This is why the free market is the best thing. It gets the most people to be nice to people, even though they don't know them and don't want to. They have to be nice to them and supply them with what they need. Otherwise, they will starve. This is a good thing about the free market. This is why people innovate. They want to get rich. Someone wants to make like this Hyperloop transportation thing, but that what's his name's doing?
Tony Stark.
It's a sort of Tony Stark. It's a vacuum tube system. What's his name? Elon Musk. It's a vacuum tube, sort of a vacuum tube system. But he could build.
He was even in Iron Man 2, I believe.
Yeah, the guy is very prolific. But if you let those people do their thing, get out of their way, they will innovate us out of this whole climate change situation that you think is so horrible because they're.
Wait, why do I think it's horrible?
Everybody, these people think it's so horrible.
Good listeners.
Yeah, good listeners.
I'm sorry, good listeners.
It's just like the same principle as 100 years ago. They're like, we were going to run out of oil in 10 years. Well, guess what? We would have if we didn't innovate and find new ways to find oil and to use oil. And we found way more awesome ways to get oil. And now we've got tons of it. And with fracking, we've got even more. We're good for a long time. But if you start letting people just let them go and let them try to make a profit and some smart person will figure out how to use solar energy or super efficient batteries to charge once and they're good for the rest for 6 months in your house, that kind of thing.
Well, the fracking is totally gone. Fracking as an industry is going bankrupt because
it is why.
Well, we have more oil than we could go through in our lifetime. So oil production increased. The price of oil goes down. Probably, well, according to some analysts, we should be around $40 a barrel anyways as a regular price, not $100.
Yes.
At $100, fracking is cost efficient or profitable. At 40, all those Texas companies, they're going out of business. I'm sorry for them.
Is this also because OPEC is deliberately lowering their prices to compete?
Well, the prices are going down, and OPEC is not reducing their output.
Right. What caused the initial price to go down, though? Was it more supply, right?
I believe so.
That's usually what would cause that could cause a price decrease.
Because we have lots of oil. We have a whole lifetime to figure out how to get out of it. And in the meanwhile, we get wonderful things made of oil.
Oil is awesome. It got us out of the dark ages. It led to all sorts of life-saving things, and we need oil. Sorry.
That's right.
You know what? The planet is going to go. The sun's going to. What is it? Is it going to go supernova, or what's it going to do? In 4.5 billion years, it's all gone anyway. So
that's right. We only have
use it up.
We only
oil
have 4 billion years left.
Oil is natural. Use it up.
Oil is natural. Oil is good.
Oil flows out of the sea bottom into the ocean like naturally too. The earth has ways of cleaning it up. I'm not saying dump your oil out onto the ocean, which is stupid. No, you clean it up if you spill
Don't throw your trash into the sewers either, because that goes right out to the ocean and it kills the poor dolphins.
So Obama mentioned this in the State of the Union. I did not watch it. I never watched State of the Union addresses.
Oh, I'm sorry.
He also said something else that gets back to free markets, which really annoyed me. Which was the he wants to make community college free.
Now that's actually exciting, because suddenly my particular job field is going to be, people are going to be banging on the doors. We're going to have to turn people away. I mean, we already had to turn people away because we can't afford to offer the classes that people can currently afford to pay for. Yeah. We don't have enough budget to pay the instructors, to hire enough staff to teach the courses that people
as a result of this, the prices will go up, so you'll get your wish. You'll have more money, so because the government's just going to subsidize and just funnel the money to you. Because he cited the reason was it's too expensive. Well,
that's right.
When you're a government type person, and Republicans and Democrats are guilty of this, but a little bit more on the Democrat side. They don't understand supply and demand. They don't understand prices, and that prices they're an indicator. They're a tool. They're not a nuisance to get around.
Right.
They're like a body temperature. And they fluctuate, and they're supposed to. And so he didn't supply any reasons why is education so expensive, and what will it do if we decide to start subsidizing it even more? Price goes up. Mainly because here's the big thing. All you need to know about economics is if the consumer is not paying directly for a product, the price will become inflated, and subsidies will come in. Price goes up even more. And then when the price goes down for a consumer, that encourages overuse of this thing. It's super simple. This is why I was going to bring up my back. I had a medical thing recently. My poor back pain. I got some Toradol, and I was thinking Toradol is fantastic. It relieved my back pain. You've had it before too, but you know what?
Right in the butt.
Right in the butt. But you know what? Those people, Sable, those people that made Toradol, they don't care about you.
Nope.
They don't care about you at all. They don't give a crap if it helps your back. They just want your money. And I say, so the F what?
Let them have it.
Let them have it. And it was cheap. I was probably the generic version by now, but Let these people develop these things and make a profit. That's the only reason really that they get developed. Yes, the government does some of it, but for the most part, you got to let smart people make these things for a frickin' profit. Otherwise, it won't exist. Toradol is amazing. Anyway, don't get me started.
Well, it has been a pretty exciting week since the last Indispensable Thursday show last week.
Yeah, we talked about rape on that show. When is rape okay?
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, can I make an announcement?
Oh, please.
You've heard of viral videos, right? You know, viral videos, they insanely spread out like fire?
Yeah, like wildflowers in California.
I'm working on my hot buttered rum. Actually, it's the hot, I can't believe it's not buttered rum because we're being healthy.
That's right.
But I'd like to announce that our videos that we put up there, you know, they're just audio, you know, the Velociraptor and Bruce Hardiswood, they've gone sterile.
Wow.
Yeah. Absolute opposite of viral. I think they're sitting at like 40 hits. So thanks, people. Yeah.
You can find that at youtube.com/
Yeah, just Google Bruce Hardiswood, gay hitman, or Google Velociraptor, Bill Clinton reading Velociraptor.
Or if you go to indispensableshow.com, you'll find them in the feed.
Yeah, and they appear in the shows too. If you just listen to the shows, you'll hear them.
Listen to the
I
shows.
think they're worth it. They're funny. Sterile videos. It's a new thing. We're the creators of sterile videos.
So I have to apologize to you. Last Thursday, I did not tweet out the show directly. My robot did. If This and That posted it, but I didn't tweet it out directly because I was busy having fun at the NAMM show. Do you know about the NAMM show?
No, I know about the Man Show, that old Adam Carolla show with Jimmy Kimmel, but not so much about the NAMM show.
No, this was not Adam Carolla.
And this was
the National Association of Music Merchants, NAMM.
Right.
And essentially what happens is every music-related company in the world, from the biggest guys from Fender guitars to Guitar Center to small little one-man shops that are hand-wiring amps, hand-wiring pedals, large Chinese distributors, they all come literally from all over the world to Anaheim for 4 days. 100,000 people. They do billions of dollars of business.
Is it the Hilton over there or the convention center over there?
The convention center. No, it takes over the convention center, all the hotels in the area, every floor. You can't even book a hotel that week unless you're associated with the NAMM show.
Prostitutes and heroin flowing into the area.
Well, lots of concerts anyways. Lots of musicians, so I would assume that those things are going to follow suit.
Good, as they should.
But I go there for work. It's part of my teaching. I get current on what's happening in the industry. I meet with local industry people, like our Pro Tools representative, to find out about the newest Pro Tools 12. They're going to go to a subscription-based model, just like Adobe. And it turns out that lots of companies are going to go just like Adobe. You used to be able to spend your hard-earned $1,000 on this piece of software, and now you can get it for $30 a month. So,
but only if you pay for 12 months in advance, right?
Otherwise, I think you get 40. A discount with 12 months. Well,
I don't like that. It's harder to pirate, isn't it?
You can't pirate it at all. That's
the problem. I don't like this.
Well, for me, I'm a Logic user. Well, our podcasts have been in Logic, but this week we're trying something different, and hopefully it turns out okay. We're using the new Audio Hijack, which I did not hear about at the NAMM show. I don't think they were there, but lots of excitement. So Pro Tools, if you happen to be into music creation, is coming out with a free version again called Pro Tools First. You'll be able to store your projects, keep them in the cloud, get a bunch of features for free. It's pretty exciting.
Okay.
Concerts every night, all day, good information sessions. I listened to a panel of faculty from the Musicians Institute. That's a major school in Hollywood for musicians. And they're doing some neat stuff. They took all their coursework. They said our students, they go through all these different classes. They have theory, they have ear training, they have private lessons, they have bands they play in, and they have it lined up over 2 years. Every week, when they're studying their topic, every class they're in is lined up to do the same topic. So you learn about the 12-bar blues in theory class. You do some sight reading in your ear training class. When you go to your private lesson, you're practicing 12-bar blues forms, and in your groups, you're playing the blues. And I thought that was pretty interesting. They tie it in with 2 apps. All their books are in ebook form, which I just thought was brilliant. It kind of makes me want to be a student and go be a musician for the first time over there. And they have a practice app So there's no like, oh yeah, I practice, man. Oh yeah, I did that. I took care of that. No. It's you got to record that in the app, and the teacher goes back and listens. Goes, no, you never had that. You didn't put the 20 hours in. You're supposed to.
Yeah. Did anybody choke on their own vomit? I know musicians a lot of them do that.
Well, when you're going to pay $30,000 to go to school, you usually don't go and fight the power. You go to a place like MI until you get picked up by a band and go on tour and drop out.
Okay.
It's like going to Berkeley or something. It's what you want to do is you want to go to school until you have to drop out, and then you can say, "No, I never finished. I dropped out to go on tour." That's the thing. So that show went over Thursday, Friday, Saturday. It was fun. Get to see lots of my friends there.
Cool. That sounds good.
Get all prepared for.
I used to go to science fiction conventions like back in the 80s.
L. Ron Hubbard?
Yeah, actually, there might have been a Battlefield Earth. With Star Trek. This was back before there were any hot chicks there. All the women there were kind of like, oh, you know, she's got a glandular disorder, you know. And they're all kind of not anything like it is with Comic-Con now, where you get women dressed as Princess Leia, Return of the Jedi bikini thing.
Did Comic-Con get kicked out of San Diego? I thought they lost.
I've never been.
Lost San Diego.
I don't know.
Oh, I was hearing rumors at the NAMM show that Comic-Con was going to be in Anaheim this next year. And the only reason I haven't gone to Comic-Con is I don't want to drive and fight with traffic.
Yeah, I don't think I want to. I get bored with those things very quickly now. I'm very nice.
Well, there's a new Star Wars comic I'm kind of interested in. I might want to check out. But
I have a little. I have a friend on the inside on the Star Wars thing.
Oh,
he's feeding me a little bit of a line on the new one. He was using code, but I got the impression that they're borrowing from the Arthurian legends for this new one.
Okay.
There's some corresponding characters. You'll probably see like an Arthur character, a Merlin character,
Sir Gawain,
a Mordred character, which is Arthur's son. He's a bad guy, but he was sort of whetting my appetite with some of these things, so it sounded kind of interesting. So I'm not going to say anymore. I don't want to get him in trouble.
No, we'll be talking about that on the podcast this year.
Oh yeah,
right, December.
Looking very forward to it. Big Star Wars fan. That was a.
Now between now and we can movies, right? We don't have to wait for Star Wars.
Yes.
Okay, good.
Did you see American Sniper?
I did.
Ah.
Well, my friend who was my roommate in the Army when we were in the band together, I got out of the Army and went to college. Well, he had already graduated. I got out of the Army and went to grad school. He got out of the Army and went into the Navy, which is a really great deal for him because he's a great guitar player.
Yes, so he's been playing. I know who you're talking about. Yes.
He's been playing guitar all this time in the Navy band, and he went to go do some purchasing for the Navy. So I got to hang out with my buddy there, and we decided to just get out from the concerts, get out from all the crowd, and go see American Sniper.
Cool.
I'd like to put a little spoiler alert in here. We were recording the podcast, having a great conversation, and realized I kind of gave the movie away. So if you don't want to know about American Sniper, go ahead and skip the next 10 minutes. I've also cut and censored a couple of the blatant spoilers. I guess while we were talking, I kind of forgot that you guys were all listening. So my apologies in advance.
What was the verdict?
Well, I thought it was really well done, and it was a pretty good service to the military. And I didn't really read or pay attention to any of the controversy preceding it.
The only controversy I've heard of is that they use an obviously robotic baby in one of the scenes.
Oh, well, that was great. So the woman is supposed to be breastfeeding, and for like a frame or two, it looked like she was breastfeeding, and then suddenly she had her shirt on, and she sort of indicated for Chris Kyle, the Bradley. The guy the main character, to take the baby. So he reaches down to take the baby, and then he's got a doll. He's got a baby doll. I was like, wait a second.
Doll, yeah.
I was like, there was just a baby in that last shot, and she didn't have to fix her shirt. Her shirt was just fixed. That was weird. And then he clearly had like a doll, a toy.
Yeah,
there was just that one second.
Why in this movie where you could easily even put a CG baby that looks more realistic than a doll? Why would they bother? But
maybe he doesn't have a tender father's touch, and they're afraid that in his robust acting, he was going to hurt the baby.
Possibly, sure.
Maybe they had a baby or two lined up, and their babies were just sick and crying.
Who knows?
You know, babies are such prima donnas. They only think about themselves on the set. They don't care about what else is going on.
Yep. Just like Marlon Brando. They probably had robot babies on backup just in case. And maybe they had to go to the robot baby. Mm-hmm. Call him off the bench. Calling him in off the bench.
So after seeing the movie, people start telling me all the different things they've heard. Mm-hmm. And whether it followed the story, the actual autobiography or not, I didn't read the
movie's about the most. Isn't he the most decorated sniper we have? And was he a SEAL or was
it was a Navy SEAL?
Okay,
who was going over there with Marines. They portrayed the whole situation in such a believable way. One of the arguments was that a major plot line seems to have been made up where he was going against this other sniper, the Syrian.
They made up a plot line in a movie. This is outrageous.
Right.
This is outrageous.
Well, but here's the thing: in the beginning of the movie, it didn't say the following events are based on real things. They didn't say in the beginning, this is the biography of Chris Kyle. They gave you the story that you were just completely like, oh my God, I don't want to be those Marines going through houses. Mm-hmm. You know, they set up the situation to say, we're in Fallujah. Everyone knows it's a war zone. We have gone through clearing the place out. Anyone that's left is here to kill you. Mm-hmm. And now they have to go door to door to go fighting for terrorists. And it's this really awful, terrible place. And he's dealing with the stress of going and killing people and coming back to his wonderful family. Mm-hmm. And you sort of see him go through the stages of like being a normal, outgoing guy.
Thanks for blowing the entire... I don't have to see it now, I guess, do I?
No, it's well done.
A historical movie.
You can't spoil a true story that everyone...
Well, somebody did tell me that I talked a little too much about Imitation Game, even though I was really talking about the historical aspect of the movie. But the movie followed history, so if you didn't know it, then you got some of the secrets blown. So thanks for... I forgot.
In Imitation Game, and that movie's still on my list of movies to go watch once it comes out on iTunes. Did they just cut out all of the Polish mathematicians from the movie? Are they in there at all?
Boy, I don't remember now. There were only a few people on the team. They have to reduce the size of the cast if they can. So they might composite some people into one person. I don't know.
Okay.
Like I said, the movie's really more about secrets and the power of secrets, not necessarily so much a documentary, procedural documentary. It's really a movie.
Okay, and that's how I felt about American Sniper. Yeah. It wasn't a documentary on this guy's life. It was a fascinating movie that I felt gave you a real look into military life. I mean, I didn't serve I got out before all that happened. Mm-hmm. I didn't serve over in the combat clearing houses. Mm-hmm. But I went through the training in Fort Irwin where we went to go clear out houses. I'll tell you what, it was just like they did in that movie. Yeah. Everyone's standing in a line, clearing the movie, going room to room, throwing grenades through windows. Like, that's what the training was. That's what they did in the movie. And I had that moment. I was like, oh God, that could have been me. Like I was probably 3 months away from being one of those guys.
You could have been called up to do that. Exactly. I was always too petrified to actually know that. I think I said this before on the podcast. Is the thing that kept me from ever thinking about joining the military was a movie like Stripes. I'm like, I don't want to get up at 5 and jog. No, I can't do it. I cannot do that part. So forget about bullets whizzing past my head. That seemed like it would be a little easier for me than jogging at 5 a.m. for 10 miles. I couldn't do it.
Well, you just don't get any sleep. So getting up at 5 is no big deal because you're just up all the time.
That's the part I couldn't handle.
For months.
I would rather clear out a house in Fallujah than get up at 5 after sleeping for like a half an hour, do that for 8 weeks or 12, whatever weeks it is. So it never even occurred to me to think about joining the military, just for that reason. And also all the movies I saw, Boys and Company. See, like the drill sergeant was such an a-hole. Like I couldn't make it past the basic training.
It's probably a good thing that I didn't watch a lot of military movies, because when I went in the Army, I was feeling very patriotic and completely unprepared. All I knew was it was probably a bunch of mind games.
Well, I think you're a better person for it.
Oh, thank you.
And I'm probably a worse person for not having done it.
No,
I really do. I think, obviously, there are scumbags in the military, like gangbangers, who actually join the military in order to get training to be better gangbangers. That does actually happen. There are gangbangers who who become prison guards so they could be go-betweens between guys inside. So there are some guys who are a-holes that are in there, but most of you guys, love you. Same with cops. I'm very pro-cop generally. So a couple of guys
I know some good
need
cops.
to be taken out and executed probably, but most part, awesome. Yeah, I know a few cops. So yes.
Well, I can't say that everyone that I worked with in the military were my favorite people in the world.
Sure, yeah.
But, boy, I sure worked with some great people.
Yeah.
If I could just forget about the ones that weren't great, it'd be all right. But then again, working in a college, I've worked with some people that were just not great people.
Was it any higher percentage in the military of
it's probably the
dorks
same.
Yeah, probably.
Probably
exactly.
the same.
Mm-hmm. Scrolling through my my Google Keep to see if I had made any notes here that I needed to bring up, funny lines. But
I wanted to finish off with the NAMM show.
Oh yes.
Other than like meeting with vendors, meeting with some of my colleagues, trying to refurbish the studio over at Golden West, I think we actually have some money to finally do a refurbish after at least 10 years. Get a new computer in there, get some new acoustics, possibly put in an $80,000 board, an SSL control board, which would be pretty fantastic. Mm-hmm. Do some, putting a large screen up so all the students can watch the session, or you could work on a film score. Like, we haven't had those things. We've got a great recording space. So that was pretty exciting to do that. To find out all the new, I like the new product announcements. I get excited about that.
New stuff is fun. It's cool.
Yeah. I don't know when I'll get Pro Tools 12. I don't know when it's even going to come out.
What were we going to demonstrate to the audience today? With we had something queued up. What are we using to cue this up when we hear it?
Oh, well.
If we hear it.
Speaking of new software.
We're running up against the end here of a show.
Oh, are we? Oh, no. We better. That's right. I promised people that it'll be about 30 minutes. So there is an update to one of my favorite companies. Rogue Amoeba makes software. They make audio software. They've been making it for a long time. 10 years ago, I bought Audio Hijack Pro to do my first podcasting. Mm-hmm. Because it was the only piece of software that would bring in all of the audio on a single computer without having to run a bunch of outboard gear. Mm-hmm. In a typical audio situation, if you want to have a piece of audio playing, you run it into your mixer, and then you run that into a track in your recorder. Well, with Audio Hijack Pro, you could do all of that in one laptop. So after 10 years, they finally have an update. It's now just Audio Hijack. Mm-hmm. I got an upgrade price, even though I bought my software 10 years ago. It's pretty good.
Whoa, wow.
So I've got Audio Hijack and this massive session, bringing in our 2 microphones, recording direct to MP3.
I hope you kids are writing this down, you little fledgling podcasters out there. Writing this down.
Podcasting is the new media.
It is.
So I'm going to play from YouTube and Firefox.
Should we set this up here?
You should tell me what we're going to listen to.
This is, you may have heard a little incident a few weeks ago where this French sort of comedy rag magazine, Charlie Hebdo, was everybody was mass murdered by a couple of militants. Mm-hmm. Well, okay, actually they were Islamic terrorist type guys who were angry that they depicted Allah in their magazine. And of course, they blew everybody up.
I think Muhammad.
Yeah, Muhammad. Allah. You're right.
There's no law against.
You're right. It's Muhammad.
There's no law against defaming God. It's only if you defame the dude that they.
Although I bet you if I said some things I'm thinking about Allah, they probably would come and cut my head off.
I think it's only
just Muhammad. Okay.
I think it's just the Muhammad.
All right. So anyway, there was a flap that they had this big march in Paris, and there was a little bit of a flap that we didn't have anybody there really high profile. It was just our French ambassador. I don't really care so much because we do enough of the heavy lifting in this country. So
we're not French,
and I'm like, whatever. Obama's not going to go and walk through the street over there. It's kind of a little strange because it's the American president. I know they had some high profile.
The French don't have oil like the Saudis. When Obama drops everything and rushes over to Saudi Arabia, to go to a funeral. You know, that's the Saudis are more important to us than the French.
Absolutely. So he didn't go there, but I guess there was a little bit of, we feel bad. So what would you think? I know you're thinking the same thing I'm thinking. Obviously, let's take James Taylor over there and have him sing to the French people, "You've Got a Friend."
That's a great idea.
Yeah. No, that's really stupid. Let's not do that. Oh, wait a minute. They actually did that. John Kerry, Secretary of State, I think probably the most moronic Secretary of State we've ever had. I think he's a complete just... absolute empty-headed human being.
Okay.
Anyway, so he brings James Taylor over there, and we're watching this video. It's hilarious. They have no idea what they're doing. He's sitting down. This microphone is pointed down at the guitar, and he didn't have a mic for his voice, so his head is bent over. He looks like the Crypt Keeper or something, bent over. Yeah, he's hunched over, singing into this thing. And Carrie is standing. This woman is standing. So let's play a little bit of it.
All right.
And he's going to press play. I hope we can hear it. I don't hear anything yet. Oh, okay. It's fine. Carrie is uncomfortably
the audience
leaning
could hear
over.
it.
Now, I'm a big fan of James Taylor, by the way. I love him. I think he's got a fantastic voice, great phrasing, the way he sings. His guitar playing is like supernatural. I think it's just so clean and beautiful.
I've been a fan of James Taylor.
He's probably an idiot, but I think I love his music. John Kerry's standing there looking, he's got his hands folded. Now the woman's taking a microphone over to hold up in his face, as he doesn't notice because he's leaning down. You got to watch this video; it's hilarious. All right, go ahead. You can pause it now. It just reminded me of a couple of things. So everybody should watch that, by the way. There's a cute moment later where they kind of gaze into each other's eyes, John Kerry and James Taylor. He reaches up and tweaks one of the bolts on John Kerry's neck. It was very cute. But
Let's skip. Okay, so by the time we get in 2 minutes and 43 seconds,
that's when he lifts his head up.
He's figured out there's another mic.
Yeah.
And it's not the musical mic, apparently.
Yeah. So she's standing there holding this thing right into his face. But anyway, you know what this reminds me of?
Oh, did he just sing in French?
Oh, was he? I don't know. I didn't see that.
Let's go back a second. I think he just sang that in French. Listen.
Yes, totally. What this reminds me of is, did you ever see the Brady Bunch movie? They're very good. Both Brady Bunch movies. There's two Brady Bunch movies. A Very Brady Sequel was the second one. The Brady Bunch movie is the first one. They're really good.
I'm not aware of these.
You should watch them. Did you grow up watching reruns of the Brady Bunch like I did?
I did.
Okay, well, the Brady Bunch movies are very good.
Of a man named Brady.
Gary Cole, who you'd know if you saw him, he plays Mike Brady. He's awesome, and Shelley Long is the Mrs. Brady. But there's they really just have fun with a lot of the old plots. And there's a scene where Greg, remember he went through that musical phase, and
right.
And there's an actual song he sang in one of the shows, but in the movie they play it up like he's wrote this song for this special chick that he likes, and he's always trying to sing it for him, and then they all hate it. They're just running away, but he's running after them playing it. This reminds me of this song. It's like, clowns never laughed before, beanstalks never grew, ponies never ran before till I met you. The girls, they go this, and the girls just start running away. He's chasing after them with the guitar, trying to strum it. That's what this is like to me. Let's go over there and sing for the French people that we really like them. And it's so pathetic and sad. It really is.
Well, I think what embarrasses me the most is that, James Taylor is a guy that has performed all over the world for every conceivable audience, in every conceivable environment, from his bar days in New York, going back and forth with guitars, trying to just sit in and jam in any environment, to, doing live DVDs at the Beacon Theater, to I can't even imagine. And here he is doing a high-profile event for the State Department, and they can't get a decent PA on the guy.
it looks like it was just haphazardly thrown together, and they look also uncomfortable. I don't know who this was for. I can't remember what was the audience. Where were they exactly? But it looks so silly and unprofessional and lame.
Well, weren't they in
Greg
Paris?
Brady. Yeah, I guess they're in Paris, but I don't know who the actual audience is.
JT must have been over there, and somebody said, "Well, I've heard through the grapevine that James Taylor is here, and he's a prominent, well-known American
I think John
artist."
Kerry actually flew over with James Taylor. That's a pretty good John Kerry. I should work on that. Maybe we should put him in one of our trailers.
I think James Taylor was probably already there, and somebody pulled strings to get a hold of him and said, "Excuse me, would you please come and sing? We'd really like to let the French people know that they have a friend with us."
Mm-hmm. But do not, if there's any Jews in the audience, stop singing immediately. We don't want them to think that we're their friend. So if Netanyahu is there,
right? Yeah,
Ixnay on the "you got a friend." Yeah.
Thanks a lot.
So, well, anyway.
Yeah, well, that's exciting.
That was wonderful. It did seem like they just happened to grab him. Hey, come in here and sing this song. It's so sad. People go watch it on Google. It's great.
All right. On the next episode, because I think we're running a little bit over time, I want to talk about a subject that has become near and dear to my heart, and that's child vaccinations and this growing epidemic. Recently, the measles in Disneyland and the whooping cough epidemic, actual epidemic. We're worried about Ebola. Anyways, there was this pretty long article that I'll bring up next time. But for this week, I really want to thank our sponsor, which is Whiskey Tango, a whole nother kind of
spy novel.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a fantastic book written by someone with the same name as me.
It's actually a really hilarious book that I purchased for my $10 and enjoyed the read.
Was it 10? I thought it was 3.
Was it 3?
Like $2.99. Yeah, it wouldn't be $10.
Oh.
I'm not good enough to price a book $10. I'm like Stephen King.
All right, I think I'll have to go back and.
But you're nice enough to purchase it. For
whatever it was, I just bought it on Amazon. I really enjoyed it.
That was nice.
If I had if it wasn't a digital copy, I'd have you sign it for posterity. But
I would be a print copy.
I would like everyone to go to Amazon and search for Whiskey Tango. You can buy the Kindle version. Is there a physical copy available?
No, not yet. I'm not sure. I might get around to it someday.
Whiskey
version, Tango is white trash. WT.
Well, you gave it away now.
Yeah, and his name is Wesley Trueblood, so it ties in that way. So he's a hillbilly, sort of a James Bond guy.
Well, if you like spy novels with a little bit of hilariousness ensuing, then you would really enjoy Whiskey Tango, a whole nother kind of spy novel.
Thanks for the plug, man. And
pick it up on Amazon, and it's your support that's going to keep this podcast going.
Yeah, and listeners like you.
And thanks to listeners like you. Well, thanks, Dave. I guess we got a whole bunch of projects coming up for our friends to share, but we'll have to share them with them on another day when we're not 40 minutes in.
Yeah, we're because of my back pain, I wasn't able to do any extra recording this week. So, but maybe next week we'll lay some more tracks down, and so we can have more sterile videos out there.
All right. Well, you've been listening to the Indispensable Thursday Show with Sable and Dave. I'm Sable. You can tweet me at SableCantus, SableCantus, or you can tweet the show at Sable and Dave. We'll get back to you right away. We're waiting with bated breath for your tweets.
Mm-hmm.
You can contact us through the website.
Send us an email, too. The only email I got so far, let me see. It was from Google. It said, "Thank you for opening your Gmail account." Huh? Very good. So Google's thanking us. Isn't that nice?
That's nice.
We're pretty important. And they say, if you want, they got a couple links here I could click on if I want more help. Okay. So thank you, Google.
Wow.
You're welcome. You're welcome, Google.
All right. The website is theindispensable.show.com. Please subscribe in iTunes or on Stitcher.
Please.
I guess Stitcher's going to monetize you somehow, but you can get the show for free on my Bluehost account, and we'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye.